Hey guys, Coldbrew here. Welcome back to another Raid Shadow Legends video. So this video will be talking about the fusion that will start next week on the 4th of August. And it will be, I think, one good fusion to get. We'll go over its skills and every little detail that this champion has. It's not going to be one of the normal fusions that we have. It's going to be a mixture of a fusion plus fragment collection. We had this one before in the past, but I don't think it's going to be an easy one. The reason for this is you'll need to collect fragments for the epic champions first, and then with those fragments you summon the epic champions. When you get the 4 epic champions, you will need to level them up, ascend them as normal, and then fuse those together to get the legendary champion that will be offered. So it will be a more difficult one in my opinion, just through these details that we received from Plarium. Before we get started with all the skills of the new champion, please consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. We're trying to reach 40,000 subs by the end of the summer. That would be amazing. Thank you so much, and let's get started. Lona Tharo will be the legendary HP Force High Elf champion joining us on August the 4th. All the events will be featured through an event list by Plarium. They will provide it to us by then. It's the usual things where you'll need to do every single thing that's offered to actually get the champion. There's no skipping around, guys, unless I guess the summoning events and tournaments will be the ones that you can do easier than others if you've got the ton of shards and collect a massive amount of fragments. Anyway, let's get started with the skills. So attacks one enemy, decreases the target's max HP by 30%. Of the damage inflicted, places a shield buff equal to 10% of this champion's max HP for 2 turns on the ally with the lowest HP. So this one sounds good for the Doom Tower. One of the bosses, the Scarab one, needs you to decrease its max HP in order to inflict more damage. So this is like having a destroy set within the skill set. So it's already a good skill set to have. Plus the shield, it's always good to have on champions that are weaker and tend to receive more damage because of their lack of defensive stats such as HP and defense. So the shield, which is based on this champion's HP, and HP based champion, will be a nice addition to his skill set in terms of support, but also a little bit of damage. We don't know the multipliers, by the way, so we don't know how much damage this champion will be doing. So Flicker Barrier is going to be a 5-turn cooldown, it seems. Shield buff for 3 turns to all allies based on 20% of this champion's max HP. I like this skill already. It's not based on his damage though, so it's not like a miscreated monster or Cerny kind of big shield. So it will be based on his own HP. If there are any dead allies, place a shield buff on all allies for 3 turns equal to 30% of this champion's max HP instead. This buff cannot be removed, stolen, transfer, spread, or have its duration increased or decreased by enemies or allies. So this is very important because the limitation on the second part is what makes it a very unique shield to have. It's good when you have one dead ally. It's going to be a bigger shield, but you don't want to have dead allies, right? When you're doing your battles, probably this skill will be reduced to 3-turn cooldown, so he can be used for the Scarab. So you have like an endless shield going, a 3-turn duration, 3-turn cooldown shield. That is a very likely thing to add to this kind of skill. I don't think they'll go for a 4-turn cooldown, 3-turn duration, since they already include something for the Scarab on his A1 skill. Already looks like a good one, but the fact that I'm guessing this buff cannot be removed, that part is only when one of your allies is dead. That is not very clear by this picture, and they didn't go into more details. So if that's the case, only the stronger version of the shield has this thing where the buff cannot be removed, stolen, or transferred, then it's kind of a weak skill. But if it's just overall for this skill, then it's a good skill. It's like having a protection set for your specific shield buff, but the fact that you cannot increase its duration kind of makes it so that you cannot run very fast champions plus an increased duration champion, so that you have those shields. You won't really care about them expiring. You'll always have to run Lona Tharo faster than everybody else so that their shield buffs do not expire, and also you will have to use them without a relentless set as an example, right? Next one is Finest Hour. Place a 30% increased roll damage buff on allies for 2 turns, then teams up with all allies to attack a single enemy. So this is an all ally attack skill. This is not a really good one, to be honest. This is probably a 4-turn cooldown skill when booked We don't know yet again. So 6 turns should probably go to 4. It's an all ally skill, which is nice, but remember we've got epics that do this job much better, such as Farrakhan the Fat. Comparing these two now, I would never use Lorna Tharo instead of Farrakhan the Fat. Farrakhan the Fat is easier to get since he's an epic, easier to book since he's an epic, but it's the RNG compared to having a fusion. So you have those two to weigh, and depending on your luck, and if you think, okay, I'm not really lucky cold brew, so I might as well just go for the fusion, then yeah, that's up to you. But Farrakhan the Fat, an example of this is he boosts the critical rate and the critical damage buff on all allies for 3 turns, and this goes to 4 turn cooldown. So it's a similar kind of skill. Then all the allies except this champion will attack a single enemy. So comparing it to Lorna Tharo, it's kind of weaker. You need that critical rate buff, I think, in the legendary version of an ally attack champion. We've got void legendaries that have this, and one will be featured for the 10x tomorrow. So this skill, I think, would have needed a little bit more of a buff. I don't think it would have made this champion too strong for this, because again, I'm comparing it to an epic, and this one's a legendary. The books are not easy to get still. You know, 3 years later, you still need to do all that grinding in both the Doom Tower and the clan boss to eventually get some books, the easiest way to get the books, right? And then he's got a passive inflicts 20% more damage against targets under shield buffs. That is cool, but again, you'll need to have enemies with shield buffs to do this. And I wonder on his multipliers with this, is he going to be a high multiplier champion? So he'll be used for his A2 skill, which is going to be a big burst of damage. How should he be used instead of something else? Because his ally attack skill is totally separate than his A2. His ally attack skill just enables one thing, and for that build, let's say you're trying to build a blender team, you will not need him to be, you know, high stats. You'll just want him there to enable the blender champions, being champions such as Skullcrane and Sinesha, which again they're offered during a 10x for this weekend. All right, so his skills is a bit of a mix and match. I don't see so much potential out of him, but until I actually play test him, and hopefully we'll get access to this champion on the test server, then I'll have a better view of the champion. Then finally, the aura, ally HP in Doom Tower battles by 35% boosted. That's great. That's a solid boost to have, but it's again limited to the Doom Tower. So he looks to be like a champion to introduce you into beating the Scarab much more easily. All right, but again, there's so many videos out there of setups beating the Scarab, and now the blood shield accessories. Also, the Scarab, I don't think, is one of those enemies that you'll need to worry too much about compared to other places of the game that players are struggling, such as the Hydra, such as the Clan Boss. Clan Boss is still something very difficult that we need a constant inclusion of champions for the Clan Boss. I mean, we did have what's his name? I forgot the name of him. Helicav. We did have Helicav, which was insane in terms of fusion. The comparison of these two fragment collection events, fusion events, whatever you want to call them, just legendary. We get one legendary a month through these kind of events, right? The comparison of the two is very clear. Helicath is by far much better. But again, we can't really be choosing what we get, right? We do these events, we try to get these champions, and then we see on how to move forward. I overall think he is maybe a B tier kind of champion, but again, I'll adjust my rating once I actually play test him, try different setups other than Doom Tower stuff, because obviously he'll be great for the Scarab, but other than that, I mean, the Scarab is not the one you'll be going for every single time. You won't be just, oh my god, it's the one that's the most difficult in the Doom Tower. The most difficult encounter in the Doom Tower, I believe it's Bomo and Dark Bay. That's the most difficult one. But who knows in the future, if they ever added a higher difficulty of all of these encounters, then that might actually be something that you'll need to consider, having a more solid team to actually beat them. Anyway, guys, this was the video. What do you think of this new champion fusion plus fragment collection coming into the game? Again, it starts on August the 4th. Thank you so much for watching, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.